What does culture shock mean? Here is the short answer. Cultural shock is a condition experienced by an individual abruptly exposed to a different culture. There may also be symptoms, such as frustration and alienation. It may result from visiting or living in another country. Other terms for this include culture shock, cultural disorientation, or social disorientation. Now get ready for the long answer. The majority of the first questions when moving out are about living costs, language, bureaucracy, etc. But almost nobody talks about a bold issue, cultural shock. Often groups of foreigners on social media will already have a FAQ or index for questions like, how long does it take to have my resident card? What is the best health insurance? Which cell phone company is better? I will not reply to those questions here. Not only because they differ from country to country, but also because it is straightforward to find those answers since they are the things that everyone asks. However, there is another group of questions, and those are barely asked. As a consequence of not answering them, so many expats experience frustration and regret. They are about what does culture shock mean. However, before we begin, I'd like to ask a small favor. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons so that YouTube can continue to show it to others. The Dutch psychologist Geert Hofstede organized a study of national cultures using group dimensions that should quantify the core values of a society. Hofstede's research examines national and organizational settings, tracing a general guideline about how different cultures would act in social and work environments. The findings of his study let us compare the cultural attitude of different countries, including the one we are living in and the one we are moving to. There are 4 main conflict fields that cause cultural shock. They are the Hofstede dimensions of culture. First culture shock dimension, the rules. The approach to rules and regulations can be significantly different between certain nations. Germanic and Japanese cultures, on one side, value procedures, systems, and control, focusing on getting things done how they were planned. On the other side, Romance cultures like Iberians or Italians tend to give greater value to ad hoc problem solving, relationship building, and adaptation to circumstances. Now you can imagine how misunderstandings can appear when a Swiss border official questions a laid-back Latin American student, or an Austrian client can be impatient in a Portuguese cafe because the waiter is talking too much. Second culture shock dimension, the time. This is one of the earliest sources of cultural shock. I experienced it profoundly. The different perceptions of time can make an inexperienced expat deeply frustrated and be a common source of friction. In Latin American cultures, punctuality is not that important for social gatherings or informal occasions. An Anglophone that shows exactly as invited, for example, at 9 p.m. for a party or at 8 a.m. for the company breakfast, may find himself completely alone in the room and confused. In the same way, my wife was surprised that in Brazil would not be a problem to arrive at a doctor's appointment 5 minutes late, because the doctor would just call my name 10 minutes late. Understanding how society handles deadlines is useful to your professional life too. Contrary to some stereotypes, laid-back nationalities like Greeks and Mexicans are among those that make more overhours on the planet, while Germans are the ones doing less. Try to seek more information about how the people of your new country deal with time, how strict they are with deadlines, and if the dentist will still see you if you are 5 minutes late. This analysis will be very useful to you sooner than you can imagine. Third culture shock dimension, the humor. Some cultures, like the Irish or Latin Americans, have humor as a constant component of their behavior, and jokes may surge even when things are not going well. Others, like the British, may use humor as a conversation starter, to break the ice, or even to grant some loans from the US to save their economy, like Princess Margaret did in 1965. On the other side, jokes at Swiss business meetings can backfire because they may see it as a waste of time. In Slavic countries, to laugh with people that didn't get the joke can be understood as you are laughing at them. I cannot recount how many times people asked me in Poland why I was laughing at things like a baby throwing his cap on the floor. It was really funny. Fourth culture shock dimension, the communication. As the consultancy firm Expatica explained on their page, differing communication styles can be a ticking time bomb, especially in the workplace. Plenty of cultures prefer to engage in lengthy hypothetical discussions with few concrete conclusions. Meetings with French colleagues, for instance, might lack structure or even an agenda altogether. Others prefer discussions with a clear and well-defined structure that allows participants to easily compartmentalize everything that was said. People who speak with a great deal of ambiguity or subtlety in their speech, the British are notorious here, may frustrate those that prefer clear and direct communication, though they may also impress their colleagues that have trouble working out complicated situations. What does culture shock mean? Conclusion. Culture shock is the distress someone feels when they move and need to adapt to a new culture. They may feel uneasy or put off when they are in an environment where their customs are different from the people around them. Going to another culture can be enjoyable, but it can be overwhelming when you are in an environment that is not familiar. Culture shock often comes in 4 different dimensions, as elaborated by Dr. Geert Hofstede. First, culture shock dimension: the rules. Second, the time. Third, the humor. Fourth, the communication. If you want to avoid feeling uncomfortable when you are in a different culture, understand the Hofstede dimensions of culture, and discover what is causing the shock in your life. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Remember to subscribe to our channel for the next ones.